Sairam students, let's begin with the revision part of chapter number 1, history chapter number 1, how, when and where. Today we are doing the second presentation of our revision, right? So let's go through the content one more time. How important are dates? Which dates are important? How do we periodize? What is colonial? These are topics we have covered in the first presentation of our revision, right? And today we'll be dealing with the second part, second main topic, that is how do we know? Administration produces records and surveys become important. What official records do not tell? How do we know? Before starting with the main topic of administration produces records, let's learn about the sources that historians uses for studying history. The different sources were these sources were broadly divided into two types, that is the primary sources and the secondary sources. Just let's understand the meaning of this. Primary sources are the original sources created at the time of the event under study. So these sources are the first-hand evidence created during that particular period, okay? And whereas the secondary sources are the second-hand account of the events that had happened in the past. Now let's go through some examples of the primary sources. Examples of primary sources are archaeological sites, monuments, inscriptions, you can say the artifacts, even the archives. These all are the primary sources, whereas secondary sources includes textbooks, newspapers, and old maps, old magazines. All these are included in that. Now, administration produces records. Let's begin with the main important topic. See, one important source is the official records of the British administration. What is that one important source? That is official records. What they used to believe, that records of each and everything should be there. They believed that the act of writing was important. So every instruction, plan, policy, decision, agreement, investigation, whatever was done had to be clearly written up. This is what the Britishers they were believing, that writing act was important. Writing was very important. So once this was done, okay, writing has been done, but then the next thing comes here. Things should be properly studied and debated, correct? Only writing has been done, but nobody is referring and it has not been studied. Then what is the use of that? So once it is done, the things should be properly studied and debated. This convention produced on administrative culture of memos, notings, and reports. So all these things should be in the form of writing as the official records. So the British also felt that all important documents and letters needed to be carefully preserved. See, writing has been done; it has to be preserved properly. Otherwise, it is of no use. So what did they do? They set up record rooms attached to all administrative institutions, such as you can say about. The village tehsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, even the law courts, all these important institutions that were connected to the administration work, they all had their record rooms. But then what is that? The specialized institutions like archives and museums were also established to preserve the important documents. Now, the letters and memos that moved from one branch of the administration to another in the early years of the 19th century can still be read in the archives. Now, still, like in the future, also, anybody wants to refer to the documents related to the any of the issues for the administration purpose can still the documents are preserved in the archives. You can also study the notes and the reports the district officials prepared, or the instructions and the directives that were sent by officials at the top of the provincial administration. So, the National Archives of India came up in the 1920s. In the early years of the 19th century, these documents were carefully copied out and beautifully it was written by calligraphists. Now let's understand the meaning of calligraphist. Now, calligraphists are those who are specialized in the art of beautiful writing. The records that were preserved in the archives were written beautifully by calligraphists. By the middle of the 19th century, with the spread of printing, see if it is like if the calligraphist is writing, he will be able to write few copies, right? But with the spread of printing, multiple copies of these records were printed, and proceedings that they were used as the references of the government department. Each and every government department was using that printed copies of the records that were written by the calligraphist. So now let's move to the next topic. Surveys become important. Now after having that official records and archives and museums, the practice of surveying also became common under the colonial administration. They thought of having that colonial administration, that means the British administration. They thought of having the surveys. For what? The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. So what was the main reason of surveys? The survey for the effective administration, so that they could have that effect, the policies of the administration based on that survey. That is the reason they started having that survey. By the early 19th century, detailed surveys were being carried out to map the entire country. Map out the environments, like they want to know the each and every aspect of that country. That means our country, India. Because if they want to follow the policies, first they should understand the what type of infrastructure is there, right? Then only they can have the effective administration in our country. So in the villages, revenue surveys were conducted to know that what was for what they were conducting that surveys, to know about the topography, the soil quality that is there, the flora, the fauna, even the local histories, and even the cropping pattern that can be followed. So all these facts seen as necessary to know about to administer the region. So that is the reason from the end of the 19th century, the census operations were held every 10 years. Now, what is the census? These prepare detailed records of the number of people in all the provinces of India. See, it notes the information on caste, religion, occupation. So, the detailed information of each and every member of that number of the people in that particular region, in that particular country. So it means like the survey was done all over throughout the India to know the population, to have the detailed records of the number of people in each and every family, to know about their occupation, to know about their religion, their caste, everything. There were many other surveys also, that is botanical survey, zoological survey, archaeological survey, anthropological survey, forest survey. Now let's understand the meaning of these types of surveys in short. Botanical means it is connected to the survey that will give you detailed account of the plant resources of the country. And zoological survey means it is the main objective to promote the survey was explore and documentation on various aspects of animal taxonomy in the Indian subcontinent. Then archaeological survey was connected to the Ministry of Culture, that is about the archaeological research and the conservation and the preservation of cultural monuments in our country. Then anthropological survey was related to study the tribes and the other communities to that are included in the population of our country, and even to know about their biological and cultural point of view. That is the reason the anthropological survey was conducted. And forest survey, the main important was like to understand, to periodically to monitor the changing situation of land and forest resources and present the data for national planning, conservation, and the sustainable development, so that environmental protection can be done and the implementation of social forestry projects can be done according to that. So these are the types of surveys that were conducted. Next topic, what official records do not tell. Now, see, from this corpus of records, we can get to know a lot, but we must remember that these are the official records. They tell us what the official thoughts, what they were interested in, and what they wish to preserve for posterity. Yeah, posterity means for the future generation, what they want to what they want to preserve for the future generation. Then for that we need to look elsewhere, right? But these records do not always help us to understand what other people in the country felt. right? As per the official records that has been told, these do not always help us to understand what other people in the country felt and what they lay behind their actions. So we need to look somewhere else also. When we begin to search for these other resources, we find them in plenty, though they are more difficult to get than the official records. We have the diaries of people. You know, many people, they have the habit of writing the diaries, accounts of pilgrims and the travelers, even the autobiographies of important personalities, and the popular booklets that were sold in the local bazaar. So, as printing spread, newspapers were published, and even the issues were debated in public, right, through writing. So, leaders and reformers, they started writing to spread their ideas. They were writings. Why? Because the writings, everybody can read it, and through that, the ideas can be spread. The poets and the novelists, they wrote their even they wrote about their feelings, they expressed their feelings through writing. So after the printing press has started, so newspapers were very helpful. Even the leaders and reformers, they started writing their ideas. Even the poets and novelists, they were also expressing their feelings through writings. So all these resources, however, were produced by those who were literate, correct? Those who are literate, they can go through this writing, the records that has been preserved in writing, correct? From these, we will not be able to understand how history was experienced and lived by the tribals and the peasants, the workers in the mines, or the poor on the streets. So these people were ignored there, correct, because they were not literate in that way. Only the literate can understand that issues that has been kept as the official records in writing. But what about the people, those who were tribals, those who were peasants, those who were the workers in the mines, or the poor, those who were on the streets? So getting to know their lives is a more difficult task, but yet this can be done if we make a little bit of effort. Then we are going to see in the further chapter about that. So this is what we have understood in the first chapter: how, when, and where. Now children, I'll just brief you in short what did we see today here. See, we saw about the British, what they were believing. We saw the sources of history, that is the primary sources, as well as the secondary sources, correct? Then we saw that the British considered the art of writing as important, and all their plans, policies, and instructions that were written, they preserved their official documents in record rooms, archives, or museums. I told you the National Archives of India that has been published in the year 1920. Still today also, like people, those who want to refer the government documents, they can approach there. So surveying was very important. This is what, as per the British, they were thinking the surveying is very important under their period. These gave them the details about the British territory and their rule, but not about the people. So again, the diaries of people, biographies, autobiographies, this gave them the detailed about the literate people of that time. But then too, I told you, whereas the people, those who were there, the tribals, the peasants, and even the people, those who were working in the mine, the poor on the street, they were ignored in that. So this is what we have learnt in our chapter today. I hope you are very much clear with the revision. Go through the revision for first presentation as well as the second presentation. Even the detailed videos, that presentations that we have done previously, go through all that. Hope you will be able to understand the chapter very well. So all the best for your preparation. See you in the next session, in your next presentation with the next chapter of geography. The revision will be done in that. Till then, take care. Thank you.